Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Welcome back to this session. We are looking at the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, where the chapter began with a question by Arjun to Lord Krishna. Tyaga or sannyasa? Which is what, and what is the difference? Bhagavan Krishna explained complete renunciation of action is called renunciation or sannyasa. Renunciation of the fruits of action and continuing to engage in the world is tyaga. Bhagavad-Gita, as a practical guide to human beings, is not merely meant for those who have abandoned the worldly life, resorted to the solitude. It is meant for all people who are, majority of them, 99% of the population is busy with the world, engaging in various kinds of activities, personal, professional, social, and for them to grow up and become eligible for liberation, moksha, it is necessary that a path should be shown. They cannot be left to suffer in this world. They are also equally eligible to liberate themselves. Therefore, keeping that in mind, Bhagavan Krishna had been suggesting and advising to Arjun that tyaga is considered as the most practical way of living and liberating oneself. In this context, Bhagavan Krishna had explained how the moods of the mind, or the mental qualities called gunas, can determine the behavior of an individual. After all, the mind is what man is. And mind is nothing but thoughts, and thoughts are conditioned by, influenced by the moods or the gunas of the Prakriti. In this context, Krishna explained what is the sattvic wisdom, understanding about what to do and what not to do, about fear and the absence of it, bondage and liberation. One who has the clarity of thinking about these pairs of opposites is a sattvic jnani, or sattvic man of knowledge. Whereas a rajasic person who is driven by personal desires and ambitions and greed, he would have no clarity about dharma and adharma. Also, what to do and what not to do. He will go by the circumstances or the demands of the society or personal desires and wishes, likes and dislikes. Such a person is a man of Rajasic wisdom. A Tamasic wisdom is that where there is always a misunderstanding. Instead of dharma, one will think dharma as adharma, and also having very strong perverted view about everything, because the mind is incapable of thinking clearly. Absence of knowledge is one thing, but also dull-wittedness due to influence of toxicants or the company or the lack of correct knowledge gained from the right source. Similarly, the fortitude of a sattvic person is ability to withdraw the mind from the senses due to the continuous practice of yoga, concentration. Whereas a Rajasic fortitude is holding on to the first three Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, because these three are giving direct results. Whereas moksha, the fourth Purushartha, is not something which is a result that one can comprehend very easily. For example, if somebody says, I'm happy, and the face doesn't show that, you will doubt it. You say you are happy, but I don't see you smiling. See, for example, if when you are sleeping, you are happy, peaceful, because there is no disturbance neither from the world nor from your own mind. But when I look at you, when you're sleeping, you're not smiling. Can I say that you are miserable or you're not happy? Even when you are sleeping in that peaceful state of mind, you are happy, content, you're not agitated, disturbed, but I don't see that expression of smile on your face. Can you say it is not? Only you know it. When you wake up, you say, I had a wonderful sleep, I have a peaceful sleep. Happily I slept, but I don't see any happiness in your face when you're sleeping. In the same way, moksha is not a mere external expression of joy. It is not a pleasure. It is a deep contentment, a deep nature of oneness. And therefore, sattvic person, he gains this correct knowledge and goes deep into his practice of yoga and very well determined that my joy is within me only and is not in the senses. And therefore, he is able to withdraw the senses with great determination. Whereas a Rajasic person who merely goes by what is known to the world, visible to the people, so Dharma, Artha, Kama, seeking Swarga through Dharma or a practice of virtue, certain things that are rituals, etc. Artha and Kama, wealth and pleasures. So that is what he is interested in. Whereas a Tamasic fortitude is that Dhriti, mindlessly holding on to sleep, fear, sorrow, depression, arrogance. These are all expressions of lack of wisdom. Here, lethargy is what we mean by that sleep here. A person who is not ready to get up and work, at least a Rajasic person is ready to do some work and get what he wants. A Tamasic person demands from the world but doesn't do anything. Sattvic happiness is painful in the beginning, but delightful and nectar at the end. Because of the realization of the immortal self, one is able to gain the eternal joy, and eternal joy requires a lot of effort. For example, if you want to have a healthy body, then you have to work out. Either run or treadmill or any other workout, lifting weight and etc., or yoga, they are strenuous, no doubt. You have to put some strain, effort to it. You sweat, your physical body would not cooperate in the beginning. But once you have got the understanding that I'm doing it for the health of the body, and later on when you start enjoying the health of the body with proper digestion, sleep, and flexibility of the muscles, etc., then you understand also that the effort that you put, which is painful, is going to give the result which is pleasant. Any learning or any understanding in the beginning, it's a steep curve. If somebody is trying to learn Sanskrit language, for example, which is one of the tough languages, in the beginning, yes, it is difficult to understand the grammar, to memorize everything. But once you have gained that ability to look into that grammar and the language, then you enjoy reading the literature and understand how the beauty of the language is, the structure is, etc. So in any endeavor which is going to give a lasting benefit, there will be initial struggle. But if a person does not want to put struggle in the beginning, but only want to enjoy, in the beginning, if he's looking for a joy only, that is a rajasic happiness, born out of contact with the senses of with the objects, which gives pleasure in the beginning, pain at the end. Whereas tamasic person, he derives by sleepiness, indolence, inadvertence, lethargy, procrastination. It is deluding such a person both in the beginning as well as at the end. He may have an illusion of joy, but not really. Continuing on, we saw broadly the society is divided into four, which Bhagavan Krishna had explained earlier also. Based upon the qualities of the mind, so are the characteristics, ability, skills, and also the way of working in any given field. For example, in a organization, business organization, there are CEOs, executives, directors, managers, then comes supervisors, workers. So you have different kind of people. There are financiers, accountants, shareholders, salespeople, marketing, production. So many different departments are there. Do you think you take a person who is working in the lathe or in the workshop and put him into marketing? What will he do? He doesn't have the communication skills. He may be very good in what he was doing, bringing out a product, quality control, everything you do, but marketing requires communication skills. Now you put a marketing guy in the production, disaster will be there. An accountant who is only knows numbers, put him into marketing or sales, he cannot. So even in today's world, we know what one is capable of, what one has been trained in, what one has the skill set, one has to be engaged in that field. So also, broadly speaking, human beings having different qualities of thinking or thoughts in the mind, they are divided into thinkers, protectors, traders, and laborers. Thinkers are those who are naturally endowed with and engage in serenity, self-mastery, austerity, purity, forgiveness, uprightness, knowledge, wisdom, and faith. They maintain the spiritual fiber and moral fiber of the society. They are those who are engaged in worship of the Lord, rituals, guiding the people in the right direction, even the king in the past, and giving them the moral perspective of the society. What is to be done, what should not be done, in terms of how to make decisions based upon the highest goal, either for the individual as well as for the society. Now, the Kshatriyas or protectors are those naturally endowed with and engage in prowess, splendor, firmness, dexterity, generosity, lordliness, and not escaping from the battle with enemies. They vigilantly protect the society. So we must understand that they are meant for fighting for the right cause. And that is their trait, natural trait. Traders are those who are naturally engaging in agriculture, cattle rearing, and trade. They enhance the financial strength of the society. And laborers naturally engage in various service activities that are supportive of the previous other three. So no sample of coffee is possible without its three ingredients: decoction, milk, and sugar. The proportion in which they are mixed may be different from cup to cup according to the taste of the drinker. So too, everything in this world. Combination of things as applicable to a particular nature of work is what is considered as the a philosophy or a Sankhyan philosophy. Now, Krishna only elucidates that point here, having explained Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic nature of the mind. Who is eligible for what kind of work? Continuing, you can also spiritually grow no matter who you are. See, circumstances in life are created by your own karma and gunas. Combination of gunas decide the circumstances associated with your birth, family, and swadharma. What you meet in life is decided by the vasanas. How you meet is decided by your wisdom. And so wisdom is to recognize and constantly remember everything that you experience as the world come from one conscious source. And this is called a correct understanding or wisdom provided by Gita and Upanishad, etc., which you will not find in many other religious texts. Because that idea that God created the world is different from consciousness being the source of the world. Why? Because consciousness is not a mute entity or a person or a being away from this world. It is all-pervading reality. It is only there. It is the only one which supports everything. Every animate beings, inanimate things are all in the presence of that consciousness only. All that you can do is possible because of that conscious presence in you. And when you realize that, all actions can be performed as a duty. To direct all our actions towards that very source from which everything came is called worship. So by that worship, one can enhance the spiritual growth, irrespective of the combination of gunas. Whether you are a laborer or a protector or a trader or a thinker. So when unbroken awareness of the Lord becomes a constant habit of the mind, dedication becomes an effective and man's evolution starts. This we will see again in a different context again. Okay. So now we are all born with certain vasanas. Swabhava they are called. So inner disposition is decided by the combination of gunas. The vasanas are decided by the experience of one's own past and present life. A same situation can be seen by two people in two different ways. For example, you even in a political situation, a crisis happens, a country is attacking another country. So country A is attacking country B for whatever reason. So one would say this is not right. No, you cannot, a powerful force of A, country A, cannot overpower B, where they are supportless or they are not strong enough. This is not right. Another person would say B must have done something wrong and therefore A is attacking. A doesn't need B's what you call by attacking B, he's not going to gain anything because he's already so powerful. So in any situation, the perspective differ. This is a very political situation I'm talking about. In day-to-day affairs also, the same thing can be seen by two people and they can have a totally different perception of it. Because the angle with which you are seeing decides your experience of it. You go with your friend to a restaurant. Both of them are given same food. But one would say, oh, it's very tasty. Another would say, no, I don't think so. Oh, why? Because I have tasted better one last time. Or somebody can do it better than this. Whereas you, who said that it is very tasty because you are tasting it for the first time. Oh, this is very tasty. Now, so therefore, our experiences of the past decide how you look at everything. So vasanas are decided by the experiences one had in the past, or even in the past life also, in the present life as well. So swabhava, or the inner disposition, natural is natural and unharmful. They are necessary for one to undertake the swadharma or duty. It is interesting that Bhagavan Krishna brings this because Arjun had a swabhav, kshatriya swabhav. And therefore, engaging in war is a swadharma. It is not because Arjun had been, he was born in a royal family, therefore he is a Kshatriya. We cannot say that. Because his own past experiences are about winning various wars and then gaining maximum, wealth, conquering the countries or the nations around him. So that has been his life. And he had never regretted doing this. So at that point, when he is standing in front of the large army of Kauravas, his swabhava, which is Kshatriya by nature, is not able to live by that swabhava. Therefore, he is questioning his swadharma. Should I fight or not? So Bhagavan Krishna says, go by your swabhava. What is your swabhava? You cannot take to study and meditation and going and doing some worship in this temple. Within a day, you get bored. So, therefore, your swadharma is decided by the inherent traits with which you are born. So, vasanas influence the individual to convert the action as the means to indulge in the worldly pleasures, power, and possessions. So the individual who has a certain vasanas, accordingly, he would engage. But then the external circumstances which create new vasanas in him can divert him from where he is proceeding. This will be elaborated later on. There are inherent vasanas and external vasanas. Let us understand it this way. The vasanas with which one is born is swabhava. The vasanas that are created by the circumstances in which one is engaging in the world is external. Those external vasanas should not disturb one's swadharma. Let me put it this way. Let us say you as a young professional, you have been working in a field which you are comfortable and you are happy and you are able to achieve things whatever you want. But one friend of yours comes and says, let us start a restaurant. In this area, there is no real nice restaurant, and let us start this. And you are a software person. And you have been working and then computer software and this and that. Now you have no clue about what food is, what kind of food, how to prepare them and all that, and not even a business acumen you have. But your friend says, you just have to give me money and I will start the business. You don't worry about it. You may give the money, but you are giving the money to a venture which you don't know anything about. Eventually, when you try to take interest in doing that business, you will have to learn from the start from the scratch. Though that particular venture may be very lucrative, just because the money is possible, more money is possible in that particular venture, does not mean you are qualified for it. You see? You have to ask this question, what is my swabhava? What are my natural inclinations are? So I've seen many people who are belonging to a business community, they cannot work. Business community means those who have a natural business acumen in their mind cannot work under somebody for a long time. I've seen this. They will work for a short period of, after that, I think I cannot work for somebody else. If I can work for somebody else, why not I work for myself? If I am working 8 to 10 hours for somebody else's business, why do I not create my own business and work for myself? So this is the thinking, you see. It's a natural vasana for that person is that I need to start my own business. That is where I am comfortable with. So such a person would give up working for anybody else. So once you understand your swabhava, you can understand your swadharma also. And where your swabhava does not match with what you do, you cannot stay there for too long. You will feel very uncomfortable and happy. So if you are forcing yourself to do something which is not your swabhava, that is because of external vasanas that are influencing you. And these external vasanas, which are not your swabhava, will only disturb you. When swadharma is taken up according to swabhava and not appease the vasanas, the existing vasanas get exhausted and no new vasanas will be created. A beautiful example Gurudev gives also. One need not change one's profession or line of work for spiritual progress. Any work undertaken as swadharma will eventually release oneself from stronghold of vasanas. The example that he gives is, swabhava of each one cannot destroy oneself. The corroding poison in the fangs of a serpent never kills the serpent. I think the Gurudev's name is below that, Swami Chinmaya. Yeah. Even though that cobra has got a terrible poison, but that poison does not kill itself. Fire burns everything. It never burns itself. It's like that. Now, Bhagavan Krishna is not only interested to make sure that Arjuna understands that the war, being a soldier, being a king, being a kshatriya, is not against his swabhava, and it is natural inclination for Arjuna to do so. And anything else he does is against his swabhava, therefore that cannot be his swadharma. That's not his field of action. But then Arjuna had this question, so if I continue to be a warrior, a fighter, how will I evolve? What is my next step? How do I proceed towards spiritual realization? Is it not true that I have to give up everything finally to get enlightened? How do I, by working, will move ahead in my spiritual path? So Krishna says, for example, let us understand one thing. every group that aims to achieve a goal must recognize their individual strengths and weaknesses. The individual which constitute a group, the group strength is nothing but individual strength, and group's weakness is individual weakness. That's why when you are forming a group of people to take care of any particular task, you must have variety. You cannot have everybody doing the same thing. Then you will definitely fail. Everybody cannot do the same thing also, one thing. So you must have the right combination of people. Weakness of one person can be the strength of another person. One may be strong in a particular field, another may be strong in something else. You have to bring them together or work together. So therefore, working on strength will cultivate required confidence to accept the weakness and eventually overcome it. This needs to be done individually. Each one of us must recognize what is my strength. We can write it down. What are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? And also find out what am I doing in everyday life to increase my strength where I am strong, and also by doing that, how much I unnecessarily worry about what my weaknesses are, how much time I spend on being regretful about what I cannot do. See, for example, if a person who is, we just had a beautiful musical event just last week. So the person who's playing the instrument, veena, let us say, or violin, guitar, whatever. And the other person was playing tabla. Now, who is playing the veena is not capable of playing tabla. And tabla cannot do the veena. Now, I don't call it as a weakness, but it is not his field. So when he is playing the veena or guitar, he is very good in his string instrument, and he at the same time appreciates the skill and ability of the tabla guy. He's not regretful about, I'm not able to play tabla, I'm useless. Don't you think it's such a waste of time to think about it? Why are you thinking about what you cannot do? Take your time and increase your skill in what you are capable and keep on enhancing that. So in a group situation, the group leader, the manager of the group, must make sure that the person who has a certain strength is given the opportunity to enhance that strength, so that he will have less time worrying about what he cannot do. And also will give him the confidence to accept what he cannot. So that's the reason why Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya. Even when you die doing your duty is better than unnecessarily engaging in the area of work which you are not capable of doing. And even if you do anything there, it's not going to help you ultimately, because your swabhava of vasanas that are naturally there in you will get utilized in the field in you are working, then keeping that away and then increasing your new vasanas in the new field. So group dynamism is enhanced only when every member of the group understands that their role as a duty. This applies even in the family and social responsibilities. Now, performance of one's own duty is the way to cultivate devotion through action. So even as you are engaging in your field of action, where you are strong, where your vasanas or the swabhava is there, in that field also, one should engage in performing it without any likes and dislikes. That is why Bhagavan considers that your field of action, Swadharma, must be done as a duty. The difference between duty and a mere action is duty is done whether you like it or not, or whether you are compensated adequately or not. So that's why, how do you cultivate devotion? First of all, realize that everyone is acting according to one's own swabhava, and all are required for the world to function smoothly. Just as every limb in our body, both known or unknown, is needed for the body to function healthily, is it not? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, heart, lungs, spleen, liver, hands, legs, every limb of our known, every known or unknown. So many things are there in our body. Are they not just doing what they are supposed to do? If they don't do, what happens to the body? Tell me. Immediately you have to be rushed to the hospital, or a doctor will look at it, take a test and find out what is not working and make sure it is working. You may not even know what is not working. But is it not true that they engaging in their own field of activity is what makes your body healthy? So too in the society also, thinkers, protectors, traders, and laborers, all engaging in their own field of activity according to their own swabhava. Swe swe karmani abhiratah. In one's own field of activities, they are engaging in devotedly. Siddhim avapnod. Such a person who is engaging in his own field of activity with total devotion and love will definitely find perfection in that. So let us realize that everyone is according to their swabhava, number one. Two, secondly, recognize that even though there is apparent disconnect between person to person, there is a cohesive purpose of happiness that is inherently driving every being to engage in this world. No one does any work in this world to gain unhappiness, to become sorrowful. So whether a dog barking in your backyard, eating and sleeping, that's what it does most of the days until you come back home and take him for a walk. Or a bird that is flying from one place to another to feed its own, kids and children, its own offsprings, or building a nest. Every living being, every being is engaging in this world because that being wants to be happy. So what is the common factor which drives everyone to do their work? To be happy. Even though the kind of activities each one does is different from one another. What a dog does, the cat doesn't do. The what cat does, the bird doesn't do. The what bird does, a lion would not do. A lion does, a jackal would not do. A jackal, what it does, a fish does not do. A fish, what it does, a man doesn't do. And you mean among the human beings also. So many different things. But is it not true that all of them are doing to be happy? No. This seeking of eternal happiness is the divine presence of God, working through each one according to one's own swabhava. It is Bhagavan, the Lord, who is present in us as the one who is driving us towards our own field of activity by creating the notion of happiness. Brahmayan sarvabhutani yandra arudhani mayaya. For the fulfillment that one seeks, in which a person, for which a person is engaged, every person is engaging in the field of activity. This seeking of fulfillment, seeking of contentment, seeking of happiness is the presence of the Lord. Until one recognizes that I don't need to do something to be happy, until that point of knowledge, wisdom, everybody is busy working in this world. So me doing my own duty, my own work, and able to engage in that with full devotion to the Lord is the way one will proceed through action, devotion. Devotion is cultivated when the awareness of His presence is recognized in every being, even while one is engaged in fulfilling one's own duty as an offering to Him. I don't need to change my job. I don't need to change what I'm doing. If I'm changing what I'm doing because something else is more attractive, that means you are influenced by an external vasana. So your swabhava, your natural tendency, natural trait is your original vasana, and by engaging in action with no ego, with no likes and dislikes, as an offering to the Lord, one can overcome the existing vasanas in oneself in the field of activity without taking any new vasanas from outside. When unbroken awareness of the Lord becomes constant habit of the mind, dedication becomes effective and man's evolution starts, which we saw before also. Now you can understand the context here as well. Unbroken awareness of the Lord. That everybody is working for the happiness only, and that is the presence of the Lord in everyone. And it becomes this awareness that the Lord is in me, making me do what I am doing, because of creating the idea of happiness in the field of activity in which I am, is His presence, and that presence is there in everyone. To that presence, my dedication of all work. Show respect even to people who don't deserve it, not as a reflection of their character, but as a reflection of yours. By understanding that everyone's presence is God's presence, you show respect, even if they don't deserve it. That shows who you are, what your character is. Now, how do we understand the exhausting of the vasanas? What do you mean by exhaustion of vasanas? See, there is water on my table, and after some time when I come, the water is evaporated. Right. So I know the exhaustion of the water has taken place. So the physical water, when kept some time outside, due to the air around, it dries up, and so I know it is no more. Now, it is no more means it is evaporated. Now, how do vasanas get exhausted? Now, let us understand this. Until all vasanas are fully exhausted, freedom from sorrow will not be accomplished. Moksha is total elimination of all vasanas. Now, let us understand one thing. Vasanas are of 4 types: physical, emotional, intellectual, and religious. What do you mean by physical vasanas? Sense pleasures, wealth, etc. By engaging in that field where I go on indulging in that pleasure only, vasanas will only multiply. Multiplying means what? It will only increase. If there are 10, they'll become 20 and then 30. So nobody in this world ever had exhausted vasanas by indulging in the essence objects more and more. One cannot say, I will drink, and some point of time I will stop drinking. No. This is not going to happen. I eat, and at some point of time I'll stop eating. I won't eat anymore. Will that happen? I watch so many movies I watch, and finally I decide, at some point of time, I don't would like to watch any movie at all. No. In all these self-indulgences, the more you do it, the more demand for it to do will happen. I smoke, and at some point of time, I will stop smoking. No, it will never happen. So therefore, physical vasanas cannot be overcome or exhausted by indulgence. Then how? See, this is when vairagya or dispassion is suggested. Understand that physical vasanas will continue and demand your attention and time and energy until you understand that there is no real joy in them. That is what is called dispassion. Dispassion does not mean run away from things. No. There is no real joy in them. This clarity of thinking should come. I might have done so many years of my life in indulging it. But once you realize this, that there is no real content of joy in the object. It's only an illusion created by your own mind. The mind projects the idea of happiness in the object and keeps working on it and has an illusion that you are satisfied. Now, emotional one is companionship, relationships. Every relationship is built upon reciprocity. Reciprocity is where you give and somebody takes, and that person gives and you take. This give and take is unavoidable in any relationship. No one is permanent except the soul's relationship with God. No other relationship is permanent. Not only physically permanent, obviously, somebody is maybe there in your life for some time, like your friends, etc., when you are in the college or university, school, etc. Where are they now? They have their own family and their own things, and they drifted away and gone. Your own children also would be there with you for 10, 15 years, 20 years. After that, they have their own life. They have to take care of their own profession, their family. Then they move away. Your brothers, your sisters. You also, after some time, when you have got into your profession, you have to move away from your parents also. You may definitely have an emotional contact with them, but then you have to get busy with your work, your family. There's only one relationship which is constant, that is your relationship with God. If you start enjoying the companionship of God in your life, vasanas for seeking new relationship and companionships will end. It is because we are not satisfied with one, we go to the other, is it not? Your mother's love to take care of you is there. You loved your mother for she taking care of all that you need. But then why do you need a wife? There is a demand for something else. When you have your wife, then why do you need a daughter? See, why do you need a friend? What your wife can do, your friend, what your friend can do, your wife cannot. You want to sit and drink. You want to go to a baseball camp. You want to go do that. And that wife says, no, I'm not interested. Okay, then I will go with my friend. So that friend is needed where the wife cannot fulfill that. Wife is needed where the mother cannot fulfill that. You see, we go for one relationship or another because we are not satisfied with one. But when you understand the constant eternal relationship of God is there with you, who can fulfill all that you want, That's very difficult for you to comprehend right now. But once you realize that, all relationships are kept, no doubt, but understanding them as temporary. You will continue the relationship, but your relationship with God will become stronger and stronger. And that will reduce the vasana for going for more and more relationships in this world. Intellectual, social status, self-respect, etc. Happiness that is decided by others enslave us. Eternal joy is inherent in us, which is independent of everything. Recognition of by others and the respect by others can make you happy. Oh, somebody is praising you, somebody is respecting you, and etc. But then at some point of time, it often happens. So when you are respected and somebody is more learned, more knowledgeable comes, then you are left out. This is what happens at home also. Mother and the daughter, the problem is what? The son is so fond of the mother, and at some point of time he leaves and then has a girlfriend or a wife, and mother feels so left out and so ignored, and starts fighting. Because the demand for respect from others, love from others, and self-importance is increased. I don't want to be ignored by anybody. I don't want to be, looked away by anybody else. So then that means what? Your self-respect, your understanding about yourself is decided by others. So when you discover the independent joy within yourself, that seeking for recognition from world outside ends. Religious practice also, beliefs and practices. Religion is no doubt a vital support for spiritual progress, but it should not become a preoccupation of the mind. Some people get so addicted to this. Pujas and then the long rituals. No doubt it is better than doing some evil work, no doubt about that. But then it becomes another preoccupation. It doesn't increase your spiritual awareness. It's only keep you in the same condition, keep repeating the same thing and again and again and again and again, without moving further. So perform duties with dispassion and devotion to God while you continue to discover the inherent joy through solitude, meditation, and religious practices with an aim to become free of desires. That is the way to overcome vasanas of physical, emotional, intellectual, and religious. We'll see more in our next session. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkhabad bhavet. Om shanti 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 harihi om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi om.